Smile, it's recording. Okay, so you just wrapped up right now. Wow. Down to the grindstone, am I right?
Yeah.
Good for you. How was this last week? It seemed quiet, but it seemed like there was a lot of collaboration going on.
Yeah. I think all of us had like a really rough week outside of Collab Lab. So we really didn't get a lot of work done until like Friday night, Saturday mornings, mostly Saturday night actually.
True.
And so that's why we thought it would be a great idea to move over to Materialize last night. So hence down to the wire this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, were you just like freestyling everything?
We were freestyling everything, and then we were just like, this just doesn't look cohesive. This is, I don't know. So, yeah.
So it's a good move to move to something like Materialize and can help you, like, if you are down to the wire, like, okay, we're just going to throw this in there real quick and everything's going to look sparkly and shiny and amazing.
Yeah.
So good for you. I can't wait to see it. Okay. Last meeting. What?
No kidding.
So weird. So we're like going to do our standard demo retro. And our retro will kind of like, instead of talking about what we can do action items for next week, because there will be no next week, we'll kind of go over what's next for you. So kind of be thinking about that. And Lauren will run us through that. And just know that we love you all so much. And I'm so freaking sad. And Andrew wanted to sit in to kind of see this final thing and say his farewells too. And we're all super excited to see what's next and support you in finding the role that you need and the learning materials that you need. And, you know, just doing what we can to love you remotely and from lockdown, obviously. But yeah, with that, do you want to say anything right now, Andrew, in case you have to go, or do you want us to jump into demos? You want to see this?
No, I want to see the app, man.
All right, let's see it.
Yeah, so since everybody kind of worked on the same thing, does anybody want to volunteer to actually run it?
I think, is it most recent on your machine, Diane?
Yeah. I'll go for it.
Yeah.
Go Diane.
Go team.
Okay. Should be this one. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, snap.
Some little hover effects. We're gonna join a list that we've all known very well, with a token that was already created.
Yeah, we all joke that we're going to use it as a password because, like, we all remember this one token.
All right, so we're going to join list. So we have our list of items that we can search by, it updates per input. And then if you want more details about the item, a modal will come up and tell you more stuff about it. You can also delete any items, like recycling bags. I bought that yesterday, and it will remove it completely. Food, I don't need that.
No, who needs that?
Works pretty good. And then we can also add new items. There is a small glitch in this one just because we were down to the wire, so our how soon will you need it again doesn't show up, but we will fix it after this. And I want bacon right now.
Is it going to submit because it's a required item, I wonder?
It is not a required because the default is set to 7. If
okay.
Yeah, so smaller just to tell you that it's been added. And I will need to go back to my shopping list just to make sure that it's been added. But if I search for bacon, because we didn't add a, it should have been 7, but it's inactive. Anyway, this is,
I mean, the styling looks amazing. Did y'all run it through the accessibility checks that we talked about last week?
Not yet.
No, that's on our to-do list this week.
Sure.
As we shall send the PR. We were thinking about it though. There was a lot of questions about
Yeah.
we should have a modal because of accessibility. Does it take that into account? So these are all tests that we are planning to definitely do.
Yeah, part of the reason we didn't want to do like our own home baked CSS was a lot of the way that we wanted the modal to look. A lot of the hacky ways that people were doing it were adding in extra divs, and online I had read some people saying, oh, it's not really good for accessibility to have like some sort of like random opaque div around. That's like the only thing that's there. And so we're like, oh no, what should we do now? So we decided to use Materialize, like provided modal functionality.
Yeah, that's interesting because, like, I mean, you all, Andrew would definitely know a lot more than this, but I think that the way I have known it to be is if you're using a div just to wrap things, it's fine as long as that div isn't responsible for containing like important information that would need to be picked up by an accessibility tool. So if it's like strictly a wrapper so that you can like style something, it should be okay to use the div. You can also use like a React fragment if you want it to have like even less meaning. But that's interesting. I noticed some colors on there that I think probably wouldn't pass, but I mean, it looks amazing. It looks beautiful. Great work.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that looks awesome.
I also want to point out too that this is like the wrap up. This is the final thing. You are not at all obligated to go clean these things up and continue on this if you do not want to. However, if you want to, then definitely do it. I would recommend like going in and creating like actual issues under the GitHub issues for all of these things that you kind of are interested in tinkering with or exploring further, so that even if you don't get around to them, they're still living in that repo so that you can, it looks kind of more like an active project that's worked on because it has, you know, other things that you can hack on later if you want to.
Cool.
What else? Other thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
I did notice you included alt tags for your images. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, it's really fun to see.
They look better and better every cohort. It's incredible. Every time I'm like, wow. Like if you looked at ours from cohort 1, don't look at that. Don't. We didn't
we had a lot of
at
competition.
all.
I mean, the funny thing is, if you look at the issue that we created ourselves, like at the beginning of the week, it's always like this. It's like there's so many stretch goals, you know, because we were all getting hyped up and we're like, oh, we could do this for accessibility. We want to make a dark mode, so it's just all black and white. It's gonna be great. And then as the week went on, we're like, oh no.
Yeah, I saw that thing on Slack. I'm like, holy cow, you guys have huge ambitious
Oh
goals
yeah,
right
no,
now
I had
to
this other
accomplish in a week.
idea. Yeah, no, I had this other idea where I was like, oh, what if we could use the Unsplash API to let people choose their background and then the colors change depending on the image that was input. And I was like, you guys, I'm crazy. Like, this is a nuts idea.
It's a good idea.
We can still do it, yeah. Still do it in the next few weeks.
That
We'll create an issue for it.
but like the actual coding of it is like the smallest portion of the time consumption. The rest of it is like planning and collaborating and getting your PRs up and getting feedback and giving feedback. So it's like when you think about like, oh, like how long would it take to actually code this? You're probably like, yeah, maybe an hour. But then when it comes to like all of the rest of the pieces that fall in place, all of a sudden you're like, I'm at 10 all of a sudden. When did this happen?
Yeah. And it's all, just sticking to the MVP is always a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
That's good.
It was great.
Reading the requirements and like just doing that. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I actually I was at my parents' and we were gonna go grocery shopping and I needed to make a list and I actually used our app on the Netlify because I was like, well, I have it there. I might as well. Yeah, that's why there's like
I noticed the Chinese sausage and the fermented bean. I was like, ooh, this sounds like it's gonna be a good dinner.
Chinese groceries, and I was like, I'm gonna use our list, and then that's where like I could see the UI like things that I'd like to add on. So like, yeah, even
Yeah.
in the future, I think maybe it's something I'd like to keep completing.
Did you feel like you were
Cool.
noticing like totally different things when you were like really in the shoes of a user?
Yeah, because I was like, hey, like I don't even know what my token is. If I wanted to join like share it with someone, or like small like
Oh yeah.
usability things. Like I was like, oh, like we don't even have this, but like
Yeah.
like because I built it, I know like what it's supposed to be, but like with a fresh pair of eyes. Like if I were to give it to my dad or something, I was trying to explain the app to him, and he was like, I don't get it. And I was like,
Depending on like what direction you all are going to go next, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. But like one thing that you could do that could look really good and to talk about in interviews and stuff is if you wanted to do kind of like a user experience interview with your dad or something, like can you go try to use this and then make issues for all of the things, you know, like actual documentation
Yeah.
and issues about like, here's things that we need to improve. Could look good for like, that's like something that I know we talked about good communication, but being able to show that you understand like that side of the product too can be really valuable in interviews.
yeah, definitely.
Something to think about.
That was so awesome to see. Like, I remember the first pull request and seeing like a bare bones app, and then it all coming together with, you know, these hover effects and everything. Like, that was phenomenal. You all did an amazing job with that.
So good. I love it.
Yeah, all week I kept wondering, I'm like, what are they trying to surprise us?
Sorry.
And then I saw John tweet at midnight last night that he finished a meeting with this cohort, and I'm like, wow, they were up really late last night.
Yeah, we're surprising ourselves.
Dedicated.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Well, cool. Okay, well, with that, we can probably move on to retros.
You ready? Let's do it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I can't believe it's the final
No.
week. I thought 8 weeks seemed like a long time, but it really went fast. So retro is a teeny tiny bit different today. We will still have appreciations, what went well, I guess what prevented us from making progress, maybe not what we could do better next sprint, but things to think of for the future in your own work. And then this column is very important. What is next for you? What is next for you, and how, I guess, can we support you going forward? Yeah, that's what that's about.
I love it.
All right, so let's do 10 minutes to give everyone time to think through things. So let's do 10 minutes.
Here's the link in the chat.
Same as every week, and we'll do cards, etc. Oh, somebody's chatting.
Oh, I just put the link to the retro.
Thank you. Cool. All right.
Let's do it.
Stop and share.
Right.
We're just about halfway done. Let's see, I'm checking in to see how we're doing. Couple more minutes. I love reading these as we go. Cheating.
I'm definitely one of those people that like to read spoilers. So this is what it feels like.
Let's see. So close. All right, I think, how are we doing? One more minute. It feels so weird. I thought that I had dropped the call. Isn't it so funny when everything is just completely quiet?
Everybody's heads down.
I know. Does anyone ever pair program, just like sort of silently pair program, not really like working on the same thing together, but just kind of hanging out and randomly chatting?
Yeah.
I do a lot of virtual co-working like that.
Yeah.
You're just kind of there. So am I.
Yeah.
Yeah. In our like last few weeks of boot camp, it was like all working on our capstone projects.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a desk buddy. And we'd all be like, hey, desk buddy, ready to sit next to each other and work for 8 hours on 2 separate things, but still morally support each other. Oh, yeah.
That'll be a great thing to talk about. Like if you go into an interview for a remote job, how they're like, how do you stay connected in a remote setting? Well, co-working.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's get started. Final best retro. Let's start. Okay, we'll start with appreciations and we'll just go top down. So John is first.
Of course I am. No, appreciations. So first to the mentors, all of you guys were awesome. Thanks for being gentle with us sometimes and just offering up all of your knowledge. That's great. We learned a lot from you guys. The team, what can I say? We awesome cohort. Liked working with everyone here. And hopefully we can, continue working on other things as well, because I think we gelled pretty well. And also to Andrew, thanks for actually creating the collab lab and actually making this possible, because this is exactly what I needed. I haven't pair programmed very much before, or even just collabed with anybody really. So this was an awesome experience. So thank you for that.
Nice. All right, Diane.
Yeah, so our TCL 5 team, Ashley, Jen, and John, I'm so appreciative to have worked on this from the beginning of the project to what it looks like right now. I've learned so much from all of you, and you're all different types of developers, and each kind of gave me something throughout the weeks, so thank you so much. The mentors, of course, Lauren, Stacy, Joey, and even Andrew on Slack, every couple of threads you were there. But thank you, especially like through COVID, it was just crazy, and just knowing how supportive you guys are and super nice and just so easy to talk to, it gave me a lot of more confidence as a coder and just my mental health, and just collab lab as a whole. Before this, I was definitely looking for something collaborative like this, just to be able to talk with other developers that were at my level and other mentors that I can learn from. And this definitely gave me that experience, and it's been super awesome. It's been great.
Awesome. Oh, this is really hard. Okay, Jen.
Okay, so I know it's supposed to only be 3, but it's the last one, so whatever. So I'm just gonna go through like sorry. It's okay. Through all our people, our contributors, like Diane. Like I know everyone like stayed up late working on this project at some like different points of the project, but this week, man, Diane was like always talking about the project. She stayed up until like 1:30 a.m. her time, just like working on it. Like always like, hey guys, here's some new like updated screenshots. Like John did the same thing, but like Diane really was like the MVP of the week. So thank you so much, Diane. And then John came in with his like previous knowledge of using Materialize and stuff on his other projects, and he was like, oh yeah, no problem, let me just do some stuff, and we got Materialize up and running in our project. So thank you so much, John. Like he has a lot of great knowledge to share. And then Ashling, she's so great because she's never afraid to be like, yeah, I don't think that looks really nice. And so she's like, well, how about we like change that color or something? And so I really like her eye for design, and because I don't have that. So I really liked hearing what she had to say about like how the different things looked and stuff like that. And to all the mentors, thank you so much. I've been like coding by myself for a really long time, or for school or things like that. And so this is a completely different environment that I felt like I was missing. And now I finally feel like the developer part of me has been made whole, because this is like the team setting that I was looking for. So thank you all. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for making us better developers. I really appreciate it.
So nice. Okay, dog crisis is over. What can I say? I just want to thank everyone so much for being kind, really just so kind to one another. And I felt like there wasn't anyone in the group that, what am I trying to say? So I felt like anyone could talk to anyone and feel comfortable and know that that person had their back, and that there was just a lot of trust and kindness. And that is super important for a team, especially in a setting where you're not like working right next to that person. It is a little bit different working remotely with others if you're not, you're not always face to face. So I thought that was so great about this group. And then a special shout out to Jen for always so this week I thought your plans are so awesome and ambitious, and I loved everything that you had laid out. I thought that was super exciting. And I really love how you push the envelope and want to challenge yourself and the group, and that's really awesome for personal growth. So that's all I would like to say. Just love you all. Okay, Ashlyn.
Yeah, sorry, I kept it very short. Just everybody was just fantastic. I totally agree. The positivity, even at this crazy stage in all of our lives when this virus is kind of, upsetting us and changing our lives every day. Everyone just was so funny every time you get on a call. There was some, just bright story about their day or something. It was just really nice. And I think for me, I've come from a healthcare background, I've worked in healthcare for years, and my knowledge is probably less than most of the people here, but everyone was just so nice and just always no, you're doing it, come on, keep going. And it was just really, really nice. It was really important for me to stick it out and kind of learn all this stuff and just really push through. And I really appreciate all the support. The mentors were just so encouraging all the time. It was really nice. Yeah, and just this last week, it was so lovely to see what we actually created and just say, oh my God, we actually did all that stuff. It's just amazing. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Joey.
Yeah, so I super appreciated everybody's kind of hunger and drive to learn as much as possible throughout this whole program. It made it super easy to help y'all, since y'all had really great questions, and I could tell that you really wanted to absorb, the process of actually working with other people, the process of getting critique and reviewed on certain things, and it made it such a joy to work with each and every one of you. So I really appreciate that. And then working with the mentors, Lauren and Stacy, y'all were super awesome to work with. Lauren, I wish you worked at my company so you could review our PRs, since they're such great reviews. Stacy too, with organizing everything and getting this all laid out and reaching out to us if we need help. It's such a great encouraging thing. And then Andrew too, for setting this whole thing up and letting Lauren and I be mentors in this. This was super awesome, and I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah, it's funny because I started this thing last summer, and just to see everybody putting so much energy and effort into it and everything. It's a little weird. It's it's really humbling, but I so appreciate just everybody throwing themselves into it and spending all the time on it and all that kind of stuff. And it's just really fun to see when all the things you're saying about it. It's it's like a dream come true for me that people are having such good experiences and everything. So thank you everybody for all you've done.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on mute.
Oh,
Anyway, wowza. Okay, the dedication here has been impeccable in such like trying times to see you all like hustling through this like without question and always being like getting the work done, always doing the work and being dedicated to the program and your project and each other more specifically has been amazing. And I super appreciate all of the dedication here. You tell you truly care about each other and I love to see it. And also to the mentors for being so willing to like help and to teach and to like hop on calls. I know for me, like I learn best through people telling me rather than like going and researching and finding things. So the fact that Joey and Lauren, you were both there to like actually get on and talk people through things was incredibly valuable. And I super duper appreciate it. So love you all so much. The end.
Yay. All right, what went well? Oh, I love you all so much. You're so amazing. Okay, John, it's your turn.
All right. I guess I'll just read what I wrote. I think the main thing that went well was that our team was just very cohesive, especially this last week where we just, it really did bring me back to like college days. And it's like just that last hour cram session. And it's just, I think we just, that was pretty much our shining moment. We just put all of our heads down and just worked as a team at that point, and we got things done with an awesome app that I think we should all feel proud of. That's it.
Yeah, I really think it looks beautiful. Diane?
Yeah, I definitely agree with John. The app is something I'm proud of that we came together for. We had awesome planning at the beginning, and then in the last 24 hours, we really came together and just got it done. Also being active on Slack this week. I've never checked my Slack so much and just like have a smile on my face all the time and just like know that we were keeping up with each other. Every day we were ready to talk to each other. So that was really nice this week.
Yeah, so like I said, I think I'm kind of echoing people here, but the collaboration here has been phenomenal. If you all were at the same company, this would be like a dream team. So great job with that. The demos too, this cohort have been awesome. Every week they just get better and better in terms of the actual presentation of the features and then a rundown of the code. The quality is just keeps getting better and better. So great job on that. And on the subject of code quality, while coding is a small part of this cohort where collaboration is kind of like the big goal. Just the quality of code I've been seeing in pull requests too have really improved over the weeks, and the time it takes for acceptance criteria to be completed has gone down a bit too. Dealing with the database isn't so scary this week, compared to maybe the first week, and so seeing that confidence grow is just so great to see. So yeah, that's been fantastic to see.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. We work really well as a team. Can't like everybody. What did I write? Let's see. Yeah, everybody has their like superpower. So like, especially this week when we're all collaborating together, people would be like, "Oh, this thing's broken with the CSS," and I was like, "Well, I don't really know how to fix that." But then you'd be like, "Oh, one of our buttons is broken. I can fix that." And so it was really great to have everyone like fill all the different pieces. We really did feel like a full stack dev team. You know what I mean? To like actually create everything. Someone knew really well how to do something, and it all just worked really well together. And we also just like we talk to each other. Some of my friends who became developers, they have like teams that just don't talk, and it sounds like my worst nightmare. And this is the opposite of that. So this is like amazing. And then all the motivation, like the motivational like emotes and stuff throughout the week are really welcome and really appreciated. I always was like, oh yeah, this is really nice. And then just the gifts they're just funny. So thanks everybody.
Yeah, gifts go a really long way. I think they're one of the like biggest team building things for a remote team is like sharing gifts. It's super fun. Okay, so I was super excited to see what you all were gonna come up with for this week, and it kept getting like day after day. I'm like, oh, they're trying to surprise us. But I love hearing how you pivoted at the last minute. You're like, okay, we have all these plans and just it's not quite going to come together. Let's try this other thing. We know we have a background in it. It's going to be a little bit more straightforward choice for us, and it's going to help bring everything together. So it's really important to be able to be flexible like that. So I thought that like great job pulling that off and being flexible and realizing, okay, we just need to do something else right now, and that's okay. So cool. Ashley.
Yeah, just like excellent communication. Everyone, is just really on the ball with that and sharing like useful websites. I found that great because a lot of stuff I hadn't heard of before, and like snippets of code and like those meetings that we'd have at mentors would just like open so many doors like at the end of the week. Yeah, and I think to echo Joey, like people learned things quickly and applied them quickly, which was really nice. Like, so like, the pull requests were just suddenly so much better within days and things like that. So yeah, that was really nice to see how everybody just adapted to new things each week. I think we did that well.
As everybody else has mentioned, I think what went the absolute best was the communication amongst this team. You all were incredible and maybe have set a bad example for future cohorts, because now I'm going to use you as like my example of how teamwork should be happening in Collab Lab, and you have set the bar very, very high. So amazing collaboration, amazing teamwork. I could tell you all cared about each other and felt very comfortable being like transparent and vulnerable with each other and with your mentors, and it was incredible to see. So amazing teamwork.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo that, I hadn't been on a call with all of y'all since the very first week, and so I get on, and as soon as everybody's on there, it's just so clear you're just all so comfortable with each other. You had norms. I mean, everyone's shutting their cameras down. Okay, you guys decided on that. I guess I'll shut my camera down in order to write some cards. Like there's like the stages of group formation. Forming, storming, norming, performing, whatever. And I feel like you went through all of those stages to the point where you really became a team over the last 2 months. So it's so cool to see. I mean, that's like one of the best outcomes I could ask for.
Awesome. Okay. What prevented us from making progress / if we do better?
Yeah. So I feel like the big plans can often get in the way of hitting the MVP goal. You all every week you hit the goal of what you needed to get done, but in terms of like the planning phase, I think trying to keep the idea of MVP in mind, like first and foremost, is also not just good for your coding, but for your mental state, just to make sure that like, all right, I got everything I needed to get done, first, and now I can worry about optimizing later. A strategy that people often talk about in interviews, which can also apply to actual real work code, is to brute force first and then optimize later. So you could consider brute forcing, hitting the MVP first. It might not be pretty, but once you have that, commit it up to your branch so you have it, and then you can start to optimize, make things look nice, optimize code, write tests or whatever. So that's just something to keep in mind down the road whenever you're working on a project or maybe you're in an interview. Just something to keep in mind.
Cool. Diane?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to mimic that, we definitely had a lot of big plans this week. And I guess like because we weren't really sure with what strategy to go with for the CSS at first, it was kind of hard to figure out. But yeah, so there were a couple of things that fell through the cracks that we saw at the end, but it was mostly because we had like gone broad instead of small at first. And then yeah, I think the delegating our task as a team of 4 was definitely different than pair programming when you're just with one other person, and it's easier to figure out what moving parts. But when there's 4 people working on the whole app, there was just like a lot of moving stuff. So just figuring out whose branch we're even using to work on was a little more difficult than it was previously. But it was still great.
Cool. John?
Well, I wasn't feeling well Monday, so that kind of put a hamper on some things for me. But I think we made a lot of progress despite all of the other things that we had going on. As far as what Diane was saying, is like we had really huge goals, but I think what we could have done better was just, you know, taking a step back and just focused on what the MVP was. And just like Joey said, kind of like, you know, get that MVP done and then get all the other stuff as well. So I guess that would be mine.
Yeah. Who's next? Cool. Jen?
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Okay, pretty much the same thing what everyone else said. I knew this was going to happen because this happens on most of my projects, like really focusing on the MVP. You always get so excited. You're like, oh, I can do all these things. All these things are possible if you had infinite time, of course, and you don't. So MVP. Yeah, I did warn us. And then I didn't, this sounds really like I wrote lack of, but I don't mean it to sound like really negative, but we also, I feel like didn't really, our planning phase for this week could have been a little bit better to actually literally draw out and wireframe like what we wanted, so we were all on the same page. I think like we all did talk about it and we're thinking kind of along the similar lines, but I don't know, everyone's imagination is a little bit different. So I think we were all going in kind of like different directions, which is why we switched over to Materialize, because everything was like, oh yeah, individually it was styled really well, but then when you put them together, it was kind of weird. And then also like none of us had been project managers before. And like Diane said, we had never delegated tasks as individuals. We always were given tasks by the mentors laid out in like issues that worked really well. And so I felt like a little bit that we were all over the place this week. At least none of us like worked on the same thing at the same time. But at the same time, I feel like we really did not work as efficiently as we could have because we had no prior planning experience.
Cool. Like that's really good learning. I think that that part of it is challenging. Right? It is really challenging. And I totally agree with you. For me, it's much easier to work toward a design that I have in front of me than to make something up in my head. And then with 4 different people doing that for the same application, that is really challenging. 100%. Okay, so what prevented us? I'll just say the same thing, that, you know, taking baby steps are really good, and that keeping the MVP in mind is important and will be your friend. I know for me personally, this year I've started, like before I start working on a particular issue or a feature that I have, I'll sit down and I have a notebook and I'll write out, okay, I need to do this thing, and then I need to do this thing, and then I need to do this thing. Here are all the places that I can find information about that. And while it takes a little bit of time up front, it really helps me narrow my focus rather than just opening up my editor and create a file and kind of look around for stuff. That's helped me really shorten up the life cycle of the work that I'm doing. It helps code review go a lot faster. It makes my code a lot cleaner. Just helps me work more efficiently, even though it takes a little more time up front. That's it. Ashley?
Yeah, I think I can echo all of what was said. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole this week where I was trying to put the delete modal into the item details. and like it wasn't necessary, and I should have actually just focused on the CSS, which would have been an easier task. So I think, yeah, it's like clarifying what your role is, and like what is a realistic thing in the time frame. So definitely like sticking to like, I think I am always interested in the user experience, which is fantastic, but when you only have a week, it's probably better just to like actually look at the viewpoint of it instead of like you know, how the user's going to use the app straight away. Just try and get it looking decent. Yeah, I think certain weeks it was hard to dedicate time because of work commitments and things like that, but I think everyone was just so incredibly understanding and like flexible with their time, which was amazing. Yeah, and I think, yeah, playing to people's strengths, like you know, utilizing what people are good at and breaking up maybe, you know, towards that would be useful in the future. But I think we did pull it off really, really well in the week that we had to do it.
I love it. So this is one that we talked about like every week, but being really noisy in Slack. And I think this is worth like pulling out now as you go into like your future, whatever you do next, if you're staying on at Collab Lab, if you're doing other things, because in this really strange time where everybody seems to be going remote and in-person communication is like at a standstill, I think it's so important for team building to continue having all those gifts and continuing to be noisy and keep people updated on your progress on things. It just builds like more empathy among the team and understanding, and helps with collaboration. So more noise in your life everywhere virtually. Great work, everyone.
Super great work. Oh my gosh. Okay. What is next for you, and how, and importantly, how can we help support you along the way? Diane.
Yeah, so a friend actually reached out to me and he wanted to work on a React app. Well, actually, he wanted to work on an app that lives in this virtual world and like has YouTube videos and shopping buttons. And I was like, okay, sounds cool. I was building a React app and I was like, I'm up for the challenge. It seems like something cool and creative. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've learned a lot of stuff and that I can try to challenge myself after collab. I also didn't know there was a TCL pilot coming up, or else I definitely would have signed up for that, maybe next cohort. Also working on building my portfolio, which I've been saying for years, but now I feel like I'm probably, I have some momentum going, so I think now's the kind of time to work on that. I also want to spread the love of pair programming with other developers that are just starting out, or a lot of developers that are trying to self-teach themselves. Just like I have a couple of friends who are always interested in coding, and like I want to pair them up and just be like, code together and like do these courses together and just talk to each other and learn how to love pair programming together. And yeah, explaining the shopping list to my dad would be great after this. That's it.
Awesome. We'll be sure, and like projects that you're working on, be sure and share in Slack. And if you have questions or just want another pair of eyes, you know, I know that everyone in the cohort would love to see what you're working on. And we mentors would love to see what you're working on and give a hand where we can too. Awesome. John.
Well, just going to continue working on just all my personal projects, as well as finally get through a course that I always seem to get courses and never seem to finish them at all. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, but hoping to complete some courses also, and then just collab with the rest of the group, and who knows, maybe we'll just collab on another project together again. That would be awesome. And who knows, maybe actually join in on another go around for Collab Lab. That'll be fun. I like the experience. So, and also help my wife in doing what she's doing, because she's also learning, trying to go through the front end web development track in Treehouse. So yeah, I think she'll actually do way better than I am. That's the hope.
Nice. And you're doing 100 Days of Code right now, right?
I am. It's
nice.
Still going, and I'm really liking Swift. So
Nice.
It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jen, what's next for you?
I'm really excited for TCL pilot, which is supposed to happen in like
4
soon.
minutes.
So yeah, TCL pilot. Andrew was saying that we're gonna be doing like a Google Maps app, and I think I've heard many people say Google Maps like API and stuff is like notoriously difficult to work with, and so I'm up for the challenge. Yeah. And actually right now for my job, we're building like a free YouTube code along that's going to be like it's going to be like quite a few videos, and it's going to be like a multi-step process for like a data engineering project. And like writing up the blog post that'll go, like the text that'll go with the video, I might actually be in some of the videos. So it's always been my dream to like make one of those like kind of Udemy course kind of things, or like a tutorial on YouTube. So I'm super pumped for that, and I actually get paid to do that. So it's amazing. So it's gonna be free. So whenever it comes out, I'll probably like post it in Slack, and you all can just like give me feedback. You can say it's like, it sucks, this sucks, I don't like this about it. So, you know, just like, we really like constructive feedback. The person I'm working with is really awesome. So, and then, yeah, and I'm like gearing up to try and make content online because I'm really passionate about sharing the love of coding to people who are coming from like non-traditional backgrounds, because I'm a career switcher as well. So I like got myself all this like production gear, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of content I want to like live stream code and things like that. And so I'm like really excited about that. So that's a work in progress for me. And then, yeah, working on our current app, because we had so many stretch goals. I would like to see them implemented.
That's awesome. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, please share what you're working on in Slack, because I would love to see that for sure. Oh, for me, I don't know. I don't know what's next. Just keep on keeping on. I think, let's see, I played the cello for a long time as a kid, and I'm going to start getting back into that. My oldest son plays that instrument. My youngest plays violin, and my husband plays piano. So they've been doing a lot of trios together. So I think my oldest and I'll sort of double up on the cello part. So that'll be fun. I just want to make sure that you know, please, please, please feel free to reach out to me on Slack or via email. I would always love to hear from you. I would always love to help you, and like, please reach out to me. That is important. Okay, Ashley.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to offer us gateway to your knowledge. Yeah, just hopefully continue talking to the 3 fantastic people I've been working with for the last 8 weeks, if they let me. Yeah, no, just continue working on apps, go back over React again, and maybe build something on my own. That's like maybe 3 years time or something like that. But yeah, just continue working through it and learning, and hopefully I keep up contact with everyone here, because it's just been it's been lovely and positive during this crazy time. So thank you.
Sorry, muted. Yeah, mentoring this next cohort that starts today, not the pilot, but another cohort building this same app. Trying to keep my head above water, momming and working and learning. And of course, like Lauren said, totally here for you all. Here to help you if you need it, here to give you guidance, here to code review for you, or mock interview with you, or do whatever you think you need. Here for you. Andrew, you're up.
Joey's up.
Oh, Joey's up. Sorry. Joey, you're up.
Oh, you're good. Let's see. Yeah, so kind of what Stacey said, I'm here for y'all. I'm here if you want interview practice. I've been on both sides of the table. I failed more interviews than I can count, so I know what the process is like. I have a pretty good spreadsheet of red X's for all the jobs I failed, so I can share that if you want to see that. Trying to rescue a dog right now. We'll see what happens, and then back to wedding planning. Get back on that. That's it.
Well, yeah, I sent out a tweet today that was talking about like the 4 different cohorts that have something in motion. Either, you know, y'all are wrapping up. There's one that's they're right in the middle. There's one that's kicking off. There's the pilot kicking off. So tons going on with Collab Lab. Excited to have Jen and Ashling join me a minute ago in the pilot meeting. That's gonna be fun. I just feel like the whole thing is like, it just keeps getting better and better. And you know, we're we're getting better at it, you know, as we do more cohorts, right? And I mean, Stacy's on the board with me and has done so much great work on Collab Lab. I so appreciate it. You know, same offer too, as all the mentors are saying. It's like, if you want to practice, you know, interviewing, or you just want to kind of talk through, you know, like I have these 2 opportunities, like how do I decide which one to do? Or, you know, if you want to connect on LinkedIn and you want an introduction to somebody, just all those things. You know, any way that I can help you all get your foothold. That's what this whole thing is about. So, yeah, great job, everybody. So such an amazing group. It sounds like you all had a really good experience. I'm so happy for you.
This was a brilliant cohort, and it was so enjoyable from the mentor side, and to watch you all collaborate, and cannot wait to see what you do next, because you're all amazing. All right,
Good job, everybody.
Thank you very much. That's
Just
fantastic.
being the last one,
Thank you.
it's very hard to say goodbye, but we do have other cohorts we need to go keep on. Love you all so much. Please stay in touch.
Thank you very much.
You will.
Mwah.
Joey's birthday?
It is Joey's birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Joey!
birthday.
I forgot. Have a lovely day.
Love you all.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
It's an absolute
Thank you guys
pleasure.
for everything.